Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always, huge massive thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. So today I'm coming back with the painted petals. This is the beautiful everlasting memories. So we've got 5 decent sized toppers on there, all with these flowers on. We've got 4 sentiments: thinking of you, deepest sympathy to someone special, and I'm so sorry for your loss. And you've got your border there. Of course you could take this and use it as a border as well. And then the foiled one is this one with the delicate foiling around the flowers. And the printed one is this one with this beautiful, it's like kind of like a leafy pattern in the middle there. Very nice. And then the inserts, I think these are the ones that match, but we've got the 2 flowers to match as well. Okay, so let's pop that to the side for a moment, and I'm going to start with a piece of 6x12 cardstock. Both of the cards I'm doing today are 6x6, so sorry if that disappoints you. Okay, so for this one we need to score at 1.5, 4.5 and 6. Yep, that's right. And if we bring these in, actually I'm going to turn it this way, I think. Yeah, we will. Yeah, all right, you can do it that way. Confusing myself. Had a day off and crafted, like literally no crafting yesterday, did some gardening instead. And then it throws me a little bit. Okay. So just burnishing all these creases down, because what I'm going to do is make a sort of bow front card. So this card will sort of go like here. We're going to put a stopper here to keep that underneath, a bit like an easel card. So it's just a little stopper to help that stay in place. So a little bit different for today. So first thing I'm going to do is bring in my guillotine. And thinking we'll go with, so all I'm doing now is just deciding which insert I want to use, and I think I'm going to use the one with these sort of flowers here. I'm not quite sure what flowers they are, but we're just going to cut this to 5 3/4 because this is going to go on the inside of our card, and the border I use is going to cut through the middle of this, so you will see this on the outside of the card because I've picked this design that goes on that side. Okay, so that's 5 3/4 square. Now we can turn that one out of the way. So just because that's an insert paper, it doesn't cut so well on this trimmer. I'm not quite sure why, but it's best for me to avoid that. Okay. So let's do a piece for the back first of all. So we're going to go 2 notches under the 6 on 2 sides. And that's going to go underneath that insert that we've just cut. And that will be on that side. Now these 2 panels here, one on each side, they are 1.5 by 6. So I can take this piece and I can cut this to 2 notches under 1.5, and that's going to be one of them, so not so much wastage on this one. And then let me just see, is this going to be, alright, let me just cut this to 2 notches into the 6 that way. And then I want another piece that's going to be 2 notches under that 1.5, which is going to be there. And then this one is 3 by 6, so again we're going to go 2 notches under that 3, and that's going to be there. And we've just got these 2 pieces left over which we can use elsewhere, just for die cutting or for whatever else we need. Okay, so let's go with, which cardstock do I want to use, even though it's the flowers. I think I'm going to use this one. So I'm going to start by cutting this to 5 3/4 because I know that's going to be enough for what I want to do on this front. and then we're going to cut this to 5 3/4 that way, because we know that's the length. And then we'll do 1 1/4 for this first piece, which is going to go on there. Then we're going to do 2 3/4. So I'm still allowing that design to flow across my card. And then 1 1/4. Again, you could be embossing this. I know I always say it, but it's always worth just remembering. But that is the design of the card. Okay, let's pop those bits out of the way, and we'll do this front back piece first of all. So the glues I'm going to be using, the same ones I always use really. So for the paper I'm going to be using the permanent dots and the Kalau all-purpose glue, and then for everything else I use the all-purpose glue and the tacky glue. So let's pop this onto here first of all. I usually like to put my dots on first, but hey ho, let's mix it up and make it difficult for myself. And I'm just putting these dots in the corners, and again just popping that the right way up and onto my mat. And then we can just use the other glues now, because we're going on to cardstock. So the tacky glue has a water content to it, so it's not great with thinner papers or card, you know, really thin card I'm talking about. It can sort of bubble, make the card sort of bubble as it dries. So this is dried up. Let me just grab a different pin. There we go, that's what we needed. So this is me not putting it away properly. And in there, I try not to let it come out too lumpy, because what it may do is it just still cause that card to bubble. So it's nice and sparingly is the best way to use that one. So that is that insert, so you can still use that as a normal card. Just got a good press down, you can see it's moving. So let's just pop that back where that needs to go. There we go. Now let's move on to our front, and then what I can do is cut that border that I'm going to use, and I'll pop that on when that back piece will be dry, so that's going to be perfect then. And then by the time we've done that, this front piece should be dry, so we can go ahead with our decorative elements, our topper and such. And now I'm only using one topper on it. I'm being really frugal. And most of these videos tend to be about me trying to make the most out of that card, trying to get as much out of it. And I know I could even go further sometimes, but I also want these videos to be quite nice and easy as well. I mean, when I started these videos, it was for my mum to follow, and she didn't do really difficult crafting. She liked it sort of nice and easy. She liked a card fold. I like this sort of card fold, which is quite easy. It's just a couple of extra score lines. So I do still do these videos with her in mind. So, and that's why you will see, if you see any of the cards that I make as part of the design team, because I feel they're looking for something a bit more complicated, a bit more showy, if you like. And they tend to be quite different to the cards I make on my channel. Although every now and then I do make a project card video. So, and after I finish this, I'm going to do like a little mini album, because people were asking how I made that. So I will do a little video on that. It's nice and simple. It's a good chance to use up some of those alphabets that I have. So that will be after this. this collection. And then I was going to go on to the stained glass, but what did Hunkydory do? They went and had a members week with a new club gift. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll do the stained glass, because that club gift, if you haven't seen it yet, is super cute. And I can't wait to get my hands on it. So I haven't ordered it yet because I do want the little book from the stained glass collection. I did fall in love with that. So those are in there. Let me just put those down, move that over. Okay. So let me grab the trimmer. Yeah, so I do want the little book, and I do need some more inserts as well, and some more Black Mirror card. So I'm waiting for Wednesday, I think, maybe Thursday, to order mine. I might do it on a faster delivery, we'll see. Okay, that's me chatting about the club gift. If you don't know anything about the club gift, the Hunkydory club gift, basically you sign up to be a member, which is free, and then every I think it's every 3 months or so, they do a members free gift, which you can just buy the toppers and the cardstock, and just pay the postage, which I think to the UK is £3.95. And I'm cutting this at 5 3/4, by the way. Or you can buy what I usually do is the Ultimate Collection, which includes the inserts. It's a little pocket pad this time, and there are some stunning card shapes, and that's £12.99 in postage. Okay, I'm going to keep the sentiment that's underneath this, the deepest sympathy. Why not? I think that's fine. Yeah, but that's every 3 months or so. Sometimes it's a bit sooner if it sells out really quick. I think they did that last year, but I don't know if they'll ever do that again. But like I say, you just have to be a member, and that doesn't cost a thing. So these are 2mm foam pads, because I want this to have a bit of height so this can tuck underneath when it's on a shelf. So I'm just going to put a nice amount on here. Oops, if it wants to stay still. And okay. And like I say, this is going to cut through that image on the insert, which is a shame, but you're still going to get enough of it to see the image when the card is opened. And when the card is assembled, I think it's still going to have that bit of detail there, which is going to be cool. So just putting some tacky glue on there. So because it's gluing onto the paper, it's not going to be quite so bad. And I'm just going to come over. Oops. I think about there is going to be fine, but I will just test it. Yeah, and you can see when that's tucked under, you've got your nice little ledge there. What I do want to do, if I have got it to hand, here we go. I really need to get a smaller one of these. You can see that's really on the wonk. So let's just move that over a little bit, so that's nice and straight. Here we go. Not the straightest in the world, but it is straighter than it was. Okay. So then now what I'm thinking is coming in with this one here. I'm not going to make it any more difficult than that. I think, yeah, we'll go with 1mm on the topper and 2mm on the sentiment, just so that sentiment pops up. And then what we need is some nice green gems, I think. Or we could go with some silver ones. The green ones would stand up really nice against that white there. There we go. Just give those a good press down. And like I say, this little bow front card is a really nice and quick one to make. So again, just nice little tacky glue, just so that if I do get it a little bit on the wonk, we can go in and change that a little bit. That's going to be fine, but because I've gone by the dotty line on there. Turn it the right way, that will. Yeah, that's perfect, I think. Yeah, we are good. Now, I do want some scissors because I can see this has got some little bits poking out. There we go. And then pop. Oops. Some 2mm ones on there. And I'm thinking because it's a sympathy card, I don't want to go too gung-ho with the sentiments. Not with the sentiments, with the gems. So I wonder if I should go with, rather than, we'll have a look at silver, we'll have a look at clear. Okay, let's try the clear first of all, if I can get into them. Just want to see how they show up on there. And then let's try silver. Now, I think the silver is a bit too much, so we're going to go with these clear ones. So let's grab some medium sizes. There we go. So what I'm going to do is just pop a spot of glue where I don't need it. Pop 3 there. And I'm going to go with the medium one. And these 2 smaller ones. And then down here we'll go with a bigger one and a medium one. If you wanted to, you could put more of those sentiments on. You know, I'm so sorry for your loss. Wouldn't look amiss with this deep in sympathy on there as well. So like as a sub sentiment. Let me just move you over a little bit up. And that will dry clear. And it will be perfect, but that will still just pop under there. On the shelf it's going to go like so, like I showed you, and then you've got that there. You could also, you know, you decide where you want this bar to go. I've got it quite popped up. You could have it a little bit further over so it's just a very gentle bow. Like I say, that's down to yourself. I've gone for quite a significant bow there, but it will still fold almost flat. Obviously we've got that 2mm underneath there, but because there's nothing else here, there's no extra sort of depth there to the card, so it still should go in just slightly bigger than 6x6 envelope. So what I'm going to do is just pop this down nice and flat because they are going on a wander. What are you doing? Are you okay there? Yes, you're okay there. So let's just pop that to the side and then we will get ready for card number 2. Okay, so for card number 2, I've got another piece of that 6x12 cardstock, this 300 GSM white card. And what I'm going to do is pop this up to the 1-inch mark past the cut line, if you know what I mean. So we're going over the other side. And then I'm going to pop this down to the 1-inch. And I'm going to cut all the way to 6.5. And then what I'm going to do is just put that on the other side now at the 2-inch. we're just going to go all the way back to that 1 inch, and that's going to help me just make a little pop up. Now I do want to just pop these score lines in, so 6.5, and I'm just going across the middle piece there. We'll do the 6 as part of our normal, and then 1 inch, and at 1.5 inch, go that way. Let's get down. So 1.5, and I will go over these when I put it on the board. It just helps me find them on the board, especially with them being in the middle of those cut lines. Okay, so let's bring in the scoreboard, and like I say, the 1 inch we're just scoring across the middle of those cut lines, and then the 1.5. Just by doing it on the scoreboard, it just reinforces it. The 6 inch we're going all the way across, and then the 6.5. Okay, and that's what that's going to do, is just give me this little piece that's going to pop up, and that's going to be wide enough to put my topper on. So let's just give this burnish down. Oh, I've picked up a foam pad as well. Let's just make sure that's nice and straight. And there. And then if we just get that to bend, and then you can see we're just going to have that little piece that's going to come up on our card, and that's going to be wide enough, like I say, for that little topper. Okay, now let's bring in the trimmer. The only thing I didn't test was the length, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be there. Yeah, we'll be fine. Okay, let's bring that piece back in, because we are going to be using that, and I want a piece of silver mirror, and so this piece here is 4 by 6. So if I take 2 notches off the 4, 2 notches off the 6, and that will fit onto there quite nicely. This one here is a 1 by 6, so again we're going to take 2 notches off the 1, and 2 notches off the 6, and I'm not going to put anything in here or on here, because what I want to do is make a border. So if I grab my silver again, just see, I've got this piece here that we cut before, is that 2 notches under the 6, so let's use that rather than waste. It needs to be just under 1 inch, so we're going to go 2 notches under the 1. Let's use a bit of tape as an extra hand. There we go. And that should fit all the way across there, and obviously we're going to put some cardstock on that as well. Okay, so let's start by cutting this to 5 3/4, and I want 3 3/4. I want this is it peace lily? I know the name of it, it's really bugging me, but I can't think of it at the top of my head. No, it's gone. Okay, so that one's going to go on there, and then this one here, we need a piece that's 3/4 of an inch. That one's going to go on there, and then for this border, what I'm going to do is just take a tiny piece off of here, so it's only 3/4 of an inch. I'm not worried that I've cut that corner down because I probably would have cut it down anyway, but you could always stop at the 3/4, 5 3/4 mark if you want to. But that is going to go across there. So that's our kind of our design. We could always, we have got this little piece that we cut off from earlier, we could always come in again there, but I think it's a bit much, so we won't. Just a little idea, probably put a bit of ribbon instead. Okay, so I'm going to start with this piece. I'm going to pop some glue dots on, just because it's a smaller piece and I find they tend to glue a little better with the dots. And then we're just going to pop that into place. Okay, and then we can go back to our normal blues with these. And so sometimes if you want to, if you didn't want to put a border all the way along, you could cut a piece to fit there. I would sort of recommend going 1 inch in width and 3/4 of an inch in height, and obviously doing a silver piece to map that. Generally, just because there is that space on this side, it looks a bit better when it's to fill the space and leaves just a little bit on the side. I think I have explained that in videos before, so if you wanted a bit more detail, then obviously just have a look through the picture, the thumbnails of videos that I've done this style of pop-up card, and you will see me explaining that a little more there. Just needs to come down just a little bit more. These glue dots are great because they are repositionable, so you know you can get things moving around. Okay, let's pop this onto our card. Oops. Get close to the edge. I was reading on, I think it was Facebook the other day, you know, like about the club gift. And somebody had put on there, oh, they never get the club gift because it's too twee and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, first off, it's free. You know, talk about looking a gift horse in the mouth. But if you don't like it, then why say anything at all? Do you know what I mean? I mean, I've got every club gift. I mean, I've done videos on them for the last 3 years. And I've never had one that I thought, oh, do you know, that's not great. So I didn't really understand where she was coming from, to be honest. But hey ho, each to their own. Right, so I've got that green on the top. That looks perfect for a start. I think, like when Mum was here, we used to sometimes buy it twice because we liked it so much. Because Mum wanted to craft with it as well. Well, I don't know. The internet is a strange, weird and wonderful thing. People say the weirdest things sometimes. I'm just going to pop these red liner tape on here. I'm going to pop our ribbon on. Hopefully my camera hasn't cut any of that out because it did have a little minute. But let's pop. If you're ever in doubt, add ribbon. Pop tacky glue under there and under there. I was surprised actually, but just going back to the gift, that you got those extra bits in there. I mean, like they gave you so much stuff before, and now they seem to be adding even more to it. I don't know how they do it really. but I am certainly here for it every day of the week. Okay, so that's that piece on there. Like I say, we've cut that bit off. If you didn't want to cut so much of the plant off, you could, with that one, just take 3/4 of an inch off the top and move it up a little bit. But it would be, and then you would have that perfect sort of plant coming out from the bottom of that border. I don't mind it because I still can't remember what the name of it is. Okay, so we're going to come up nice and high with this one, 2mm foam pads. And because this is just such a small space, I'm going to pop these 2mm foam pads directly onto it. There we go. Give those a good press down. Backs off. I'm still going to put some tacky glue on the back because I still want that little bit of wiggle room time. Okay, and then what we're going to do is just pop that onto there, give that a little press down. You can see when the card's closed, it's still going to be quite nicely in the envelope there, still going to go in that normal size envelope. We just need a sentiment. If I grab that topper sheet back, and we'll go with the Thinking of You because it's got all those greens on. Now I was thinking about doing a bow, so let me grab my little bow maker and that lovely fresh green ribbon. And I might choose not to use it, but let's see what it looks like. And this one definitely needs some green gems, so I might be using some of those mermaid ones again. So let's just pull that nice and tight. Ooh, slide that off. And then if I straighten its little legs out, tidy that up. Let's see. So if I pop that there, maybe that there, and a couple of pearls. Yep, that is definitely going to work. Right. So this border, this sentiment, this time I'm going to keep that nice and low with a 1mm foam pad. And like I say, I'm going to put it over that ribbon. We will just pop a little bit of tacky glue on there just to give us that bit of wiggle room time if we need it. So I can just see that pips popping up, just poking that down with my nail. So let's do the gems first of all. And we've got some, I think I want to go with the dark ones, or do I? Yes, I do. See how I change my mind? Okay, so we're just going to pop 3 on here. So these ones are self-adhesive, but like I say, they are, they did come from, I think, Temu, and sometimes they don't stick as well, so sometimes they do need a little bit of additional glue, but I always try and give them the benefit of the doubt first of all. So those 3. You could also go in with white pearls, I think would work. Obviously the silver would work. The clear gems, the dewdrop ones would work. Right, then last but not least, I'm just going to put a nice blob of glue there. Get my little tweezers ready. And if I open my card up, pop my bow on, and my little reverse tweezers. It takes about 10 minutes to dry, but when it does, it is really solid. I mean, obviously if you pull it, it's going to come off, but then if you pull it with a glue dot, it will come off. Do you know what I mean? If you pull it, so don't pull it is what I would say. But that is that little card there. So like I say, that's going to pop up, folds down flat to go in an envelope, but then it's just that little bit of interest on the card. Obviously it does need the insert in as well. And then now those gems have stopped moving around, and you can see how the glue has dried clear on them, because all you can see is the pattern of the paper through. And then we've got that little bow front one there as well. So those are our 2 for today. Still loads left on here. 3 nice toppers. I haven't really touched, I took a little bit out of that one, but we've still got that foiled cardstock. We've still got those inserts we could use as backing papers if we wanted to. And of course there's always the Duo design book, or the Picture Perfect book, I think, which comes with this one if I get stuck. But I will make some cards with these, and you will see those going up on my Pinterest page at some point. So that was Everlasting Memories. There's one more set left, and it's a beautiful purple colour. I just can't wait to get my hands on it. Purple's my favourite colour. Purple was my nephew's favourite colour as well. So, you know, I really love playing with anything purple, really, in terms of a paper kit. But thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and until next time, happy crafting. Bye.